Just wanted to share some thoughts on your party. I've been sitting back just watching for a little bit, watching people debate, which I think is incredibly important, but unfortunately more often they're not squabbling, which really seems to be the thing that we excel at most on the left. It really shouldn't be the thing that we excel at, especially at this time. So I just want to add my 10 pence worth in the hope that it might resonate with some people. I'm not a great political analyst. I'm not suggesting that I am. I wasn't even political prior to becoming involved in the Palestine Solidarity movement and Corbyn taking over as leader of the Labour Party. The reason for that, although I guess I was always actually political but not involved in parliamentary politics, was because I felt that most politicians were only concerned about themselves, which is actually generally the case. But there was enough about Jeremy Corbyn and his history that made me feel he was someone I could get behind. What people really need to understand is we have one priority, folks. We have to park our egos and focus on that priority because of what it means if we are not successful. And that priority is to beat the fascists, whether that's reform or the other flavours of fascism, liquid labour, and the absolute mess that is the Tory party. That's it, the single most important thing that we have. What that means is that we are going to need to form a broad coalition of independents and other parties that we may not choose to support at other times. That includes the Green Party, which we may have some issues with, and it also means the Workers' Party. Now, there is not a single leader that I think is perfect, but we shouldn't be demanding perfection from our leaders because we are all human beings. They are all flawed and they all make mistakes, but we have to take people on balance. And whether we like it or not, there are some people, and I'm speaking to the liberal left, there are some people who want to live in communities that are socially conservative. And what you need to understand, and I need to understand, is that is their right. If they want to set up homes that are more traditional and don't want to accept certain liberal policies, then that is their right, guys, as long as they don't impose it upon anybody else and people are free to leave as they wish. And that's not about tolerating racism or anything else. It's just understanding that we all don't think the same. Some people for religious reasons and some people for other reasons. In those areas that tend to lean more towards social conservatism, whether we like it or not, the Workers' Party are the best place to fight and win in those areas. Again, our single priority at this stage is to stop reform and stop the other flavours of fascism. Equally, to those who are socially conservative, people have the right to set up communities and societies that are socially liberal. That has nothing to do with you either. As long as people are free to leave and nobody forces anything else upon anybody else. All of us have got to understand this. Yes, I think the Green Party have made mistakes in the past, but they have a number of good people in them. And we have got to learn to forgive one another, folks. So you really have, because all of us screw up at some point in life. What I'm asking of your party is that we make it far more democratic than it was. And to you, Jeremy and Zara, whoever were the advisors when Jeremy was last in leading the party, or was last a leader, none of those should be recruited again because all of them failed. Jeremy, I love you. And I said this to your face, but you are not perfect. But I don't expect perfection from you. I don't put people on pedestals. But you let down some of your greatest allies, and that was not okay. But you have to learn from that and then move forward, because you are a good man. And I think it's really important to have you as a figurehead. But this party needs to have more democratic processes. We need to have it so that we can communicate more with you and the leadership. And actually, I'd like to see something entirely different, more of a circular approach to democracy, really informed by the grassroots. I want to see more working class people with a strong and provable history of supporting their communities, not those who were too driven by their egos and their ambition. And we need to be aware of infiltrators. At this moment, we are living in a Tin Pot dictatorship, cosplaying as a liberal democracy, and we cannot allow this to continue. We have a chance probably we've never had before, because more people are awake than ever to the corruption that exists and how the elites are screwing and exploiting us all. So let's unite and finally build a community that we can all thrive in. And as I said again, the priority is defeating the fascists, and to really reach out to people and help them to understand that it is not left versus right. It is us against the elite, the deep state, the ruling classes, whatever you want to call them. It is us against them. And we need to help people to understand how their tactics of divide and conquer are used so that we look across and punch down and destroy each other, then look up and recognize how they are screwing us all over. Well done if you get to the end of this message. It's much longer than I planned, but I hope in some way it might help.